Hello, this is mufcMPB. I'm your host, Ash Meppers, and this is the match reaction from today's disastrous 3-1 loss to Brighton Hove Albion. Where to begin? We saw Eriksen come into the team today, off the back of performing fairly decent for Denmark, and then prior for against Arsenal, getting the assist toward Rashford. Also, there was debuts for Rasmus Winter Højlund and our loanee signing Sergio Reguilon. Reguilon, if I'm being honest, I felt like he had a good game. I felt like he was one of the only bright sparks for today. Reguilon, Højlund, unfortunately, he got his goal, which was ruled out because Rashford went too close to the byline and took it out of play before it was switched inside. I was there at the game today. Hopeful, excited going into the game with a decent, strong starting lineup. What I thought would be a strong starting lineup with Scott McTominay in the midfield, with Casemiro and Eriksen. I thought that was a midfield that would be able to control and dictate the game, and also with Bruno, which I thought would be starting as in the right wing spot. That wasn't to be the case. What actually happened was we played a diamond 4-1-2-1-2 with Casemiro sitting a little deeper. I mean, you could say a diamond 4-1-2, or you could say a 4-1-4-1. Not a 4-1-4-1, sorry. But essentially, Casemiro was sitting deep there. On his right-hand side was Eriksen. On the left, McTominay. Switch it around, sorry. On the right-hand side, McTominay. On the left, Eriksen. And then Bruno just behind Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford. And I thought Bruno would have been playing wide. Ten Hag switched up his system today, but in the first 20 minutes, we looked strong. We looked great. I thought we came out of the pressing high, dictating the play, controlling the ball. And it looked like it would be I wouldn't say a routine win, but we looked comfortable. And it looked like the players that had passion, desire, they had the energy, the application, the industry. And all of a sudden, one ball out the right-hand side, ball in from, I think it's Adingra. I'm not too sure what's the right winger called who plays for Brighton. Adingra. I was right in the first place. Yeah, Adingra gets the ball inside and slotted home just easily and comfortably by Danny Welbeck. Now, Danny Welbeck first was picked up by Casemiro and just drifts past Casemiro. Casemiro paid no attention to him running into the box. And then you could also say that McTominay following him and could see him run into the box free, completely free, left completely alone. First attack, ball comes across, goal. Madness. Absolutely insane within the first 20 minutes of the game. How's it going, James Thomas? How are you feeling about today's result? I'm be interested to hear all your opinions, your thoughts on how it went down today. Anything you saw, anything you thought needs picking up on, lineups. What happened today for both of us, man? How's it going, James Heslem? You all right, mate? James Thomas says thoughts on the setup today, Ash. I thought going into the game, I felt comfortable going into the game. Looking at it, I thought we'd dictate the play. I thought with Casemiro, Eriksen, McTominay and Bruno all playing on the same field at the same time, I thought that would allow us to kind of press up high up the field, control the ball, control the midfield. I wasn't too worried about Pascal Gross and Dahoud in the midfield. How wrong was I to be? Absolute horrendous. How's it going, Boosh? Nice to see you. How's it going, Big Ron? Welcome in. And looking at that, it just felt as though we'd go on to win that game after the first 20 minutes. And like I said, it all fell apart with the interchanging on the right-hand side with Adingra, Gross, Welbeck. It was poor defending. I mean, the first instance, you could maybe look at Reguilon saying he's too high up the field, but I also think Lisandro Martinez dropping a little bit too deep. It was. And what's happened to Lisandro Martinez? Like, where did last season Lisandro Martinez go? He's making poor decisions off the ball. He's making poor decisions on the ball. it's frustrating to see. And you look at Manchester United right now, and you look at the Arsenal performance, and you could say, yeah, okay, we lost that game, but there was a lot of kind of, like bright sparks in that game where you think, against a lesser opposition, we potentially go on to win that game. Today was lackluster. It was poor. It was a bad performance. I'm looking at Casemiro, and I'm thinking, has his legs gone? Is this a Fabinho scenario where last season Fabinho just completely fell off a cliff? Now, okay, you can say that, or I'll make the argument that Casemiro starts seasons kind of slow, but he's had, 3-4 games now? He's had the international break. He looked pretty poor in the international break as well, if you'd have been watching any of the Brazil games. A lot of the Brazil fans were calling him out, saying it's time. And you saw him today, misplaced passes, not tracking men. It's scary. It's scary. It's looking like we desperately need Amrabat in the team to offer a little bit of defensive stability. Eriksen can't bring that. I personally feel like Eriksen's done at kind of a competitive level in the Premier League. He's not got the legs for it anymore. He's great on the ball. He's great when he's got two men behind him. But right now, being told to play almost as a box-to-box midfielder, Eriksen is not the man for it, unfortunately. Spencer says, hopefully when we get the key players back, it will be different. Oh yeah, I mean, we've always got hope, and there's nothing like a setback to create a reaction. And we're going to want to see that reaction on Wednesday against Bayern Munich. It's going to be tough. Bayern Munich themselves didn't have the greatest performance yesterday. They played against Bayer Leverkusen and drew that game 2-2. I watched that game. It was a good game, and Leverkusen, Alonso's doing amazing things over there at Leverkusen. I'm going to that game on Wednesdays, so I'll be bringing you a live stream from 7 p.m. UK time from Munich. That'll be an interesting one. Ronnie Dodge says, I think Martinez bulked up and it slowed him down. That's a great shout, Ronnie Dodge. He does look a little bit bulky, and it definitely has slowed him down. I mean, his decision making, I'm not too sure that affects his decision making, but it's just not been good enough. Spencer says, this wasn't even Brighton's strongest team, which makes it worse. Yeah, you saw that them with no Solly March, and you saw them with no Estupinian. And you consider the way Dalot was run ragged today by Lamptey, and McTominay was offering no help and support for Diogo Dalot down that right hand side. Lamptey was just. I mean, I was sat on this side of the stadium looking at Lamptey, looking at Dalot, looking at McTominay all the first half. I mean, again, first 20 minutes we looked solid, we looked decent. It looked like we was going to have a nice day. It looked like it was going to be a fruitful occasion for us. But then the goal goes in, and all the players kind of heads drop. The thing that frustrates me is we lull ourselves into this idea that we deserve to win games, and we're good enough, and we're better than our opposition, that we don't need to work as hard. So you see that the lack of Casemiro tracking back. Maybe it's the 5 Champions League that's just. He sat at home, thinking, well, I've got these, I don't need to put in the performances. His missus is over in Ibiza enjoying herself, partying and stuff. He's just kind of phoning it in, so to speak. Now, I hate to say that because I love Casemiro and I love the performance he put in last season, but this season's been a rapid and a massive decline. I mean, where is Casemiro? Where's he gone? This is similar, as I was saying a little bit earlier, this is very similar to the Fabinho collapse that we saw last year from Liverpool, and Klopp had to get him right out of the team. We've got him now for another 3 seasons, still this season and another 3, contracted in on big wages. But, I mean, again, Casemiro starts slow. He does start slow, so there is that. Maybe we'll start to see him turn it around a little bit at some point, but it's not been good enough at all. Box says, there is little hope. If I'm honest, I'll give you some signs of hope. Let me just break it down first. Let us break it down. Get into where were the issues today? What were your problems? What didn't you like to see? What should we have done better? And then we'll talk about the bright sparks and the hope going forward. Good says Brighton are going to beat and outplay most teams this year. Yeah, look at them battering 2 Champions League teams in back-to-back weeks. Brighton are under the Zerbi. Now that's one thing that, if I'm being honest, which, you know, we're always honest on mufcMPB. You know, we're bringing you know, the hottest live news. Make sure, by the way, boys, if you've not already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button over here. We're going to be here for the foreseeable future. You know, Manchester United aren't going anywhere, neither are we. You know, we're going to bring you match day live reactions, all the transfer news. I'm going to be over in Munich on Wednesday, bringing you all the kind of roundup and the latest info going into that Bayern game. So make sure you like and you subscribe. But like I was just about to say, Zerbi, I mean, watching that game from my position, I was sat in the south stand just behind the dugout, and I saw a team that was coached better, that applied themselves better, that were technically better on the ball, that understood the next move. They didn't understand the next move. They understood from A to B, C, and D. At Manchester United, it looked like we get the ball at A, we don't know what B and C is, we have no idea what B and C is to do with the players. I mean, it's frustrating. Okay, you could account that to a changing system today. We went with a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond, you know, with Rashford or Højlund up top, Bruno in behind, and then McTominay and Eriksen with Casemiro. And you could say that, okay, we changed the system. I'm not too sure why Ten Hag changed the system. It's a frustrating one, boys. Let's see what you've got to say. If I missed any of your comments, make sure to repost your comments. They'll all be getting read. I want to hear your reaction. I want to hear what you boys are saying, what you've got to say about it, and where you think we need improving, where the mistakes were made, and where do we go next. Luis Nairo said midfield needs Amrabat as soon as possible. I agree 100%, Luis Lores. Why I said we're in a cycle with the Glazers. Let me just point out something that isn't spoke about anywhere near enough. Last year we had David Gea in goal. Last year we played a different style of football where we looked to kick the ball long and we weren't able to pass the ball around the back, and we kind of played a little tried to play a little bit more on the counter attack. So when people say, "Oh, Ten Hag's had 12 months to implement his system," he's not had 12 months to implement his system. He's had a month, maybe 2 months to implement his system, because this is a new style of playing around the back, and these players are having to get used to playing with Onana, playing with a more high up-tempo, kind of mobile midfield, although we're not seeing that, and also the high press up top from attacking players, which again we're not seeing it, because you're not seeing it being allowed to with Eriksen and Casemiro, and looking at the game, I don't know what it looked like on TV today, but you know, in the stands you can see the full what's going on and what's happening on the pitch. And what I kept noticing time after time was our players are going in pressing, and our defence are so disjointed and so far away. There's no kind of full court press, so to speak, where you're penning the team in. There's so much space in the midfield where Brighton are finding that space. They're finding Pascal Gross open. They're finding Dahoud open. They're finding Lallana and Adingra open, because the defence aren't playing a high line, which is needed really for a high press. So it's so disjointed. Now, whether that's Lindelof not feeling comfortable, whether that's the tactics, whether that's Casemiro sitting a little bit too deep when we apply the press, there's a lot of issues. We've got a lot of problems right now, and it's not looking great. I've got to be honest. Pellistri is the only winger who wants to feed Højlund. You know what? I was on the opposite side from Pellistri. I didn't see much from him today, you know, when he came off the bench. So I've not got much to say on that one. Felix says the fans nearby should always put the Glazers out. Listen, we were singing Glazers out all game, Felix. All game you could hear Glazers out. That's something that United fans at Old Trafford, it's a constant. You know, we're desperate to get rid of them. How we get rid of them, we're not too sure. We've tried sit-ins. We've tried to disrupt the games. I think that's probably the best. You see with these stop oil protesters now. Maybe I'm stepping a little bit too far out of line here, but I think that's what's needed to get the Glazers out, to disrupt the games, stop the coaches coming, you know, stop the games being played, just cause chaos so that it's costing And I don't want to incite, dangerous events and stuff like that. I really don't. I'm not one to do that. But to get the Glazers out as safely as possible and as quickly as possible, we need to be stopping games. That's the only way we can move forward, essentially. Why says your camera keeps going blurry, Ash? My camera keeps going blurry, does it? Let me spot me on there. Right, here we are. We're spot focused now, so that shouldn't change. Apologies. Look at the difference we are having currently. If one gets injured, then we find ourselves in hell. Yeah, I mean, players, it's right now we are struggling with a lot of injuries. I mean, we've got a lot of players to come back. We've got Mason Mount to come in. We've got Amrabat to come in. We've got Varane to come back. We've got Luke Shaw to come back. Although, we'll say, Reguilon looked decent today. Box says Hannibal showed he has a pair of. You know what? If you've been watching this channel for the past week, since we started back up again, you'd have heard me, sing Hannibal's praises. I'm a fan. I like the kid. I think he's got all the talent in the world. I think he's got the application. I think he's a little bit slow, but other than that, I think he's capable to be able to take over, say, Eriksen's position or McTominay's position in this side. I don't really want to be seeing McTominay. But Tommy playing as a number 8, I don't think he's good enough. Playing in Bruno's role, yeah. Playing more higher up the field, I think he's decent. Playing as a number 8, I don't think he's capable or got the ability defensively, and he doesn't have the technical nous. He doesn't have the positional awareness to kind of to control and be able to make a difference in game. Today, watching McTominay, he was running around like a headless chicken. He had no idea what to do with Dahoud. He had no idea what to do with Lallana. He had no idea what to do with Lamptey. He was leaving Delo one against two against what's he called? I forgot his name. Against Matoma. Matoma and Lamptey were just bullying Delo today, and McTominay offered no help. And I would say also culpable for the first goal, or at least he plays a part in not tracking the run of Daniel Welbeck, not getting in there to stop it, not getting himself kind of anticipating and reading the play. Okay, you could point also to Lindelof, who doesn't stop the cross and gets drawn out by, I think it was Gross who draws him out. But yeah, it's poor. Again, this is live reaction coming from me. I've not seen the highlights. I've not seen the footage. I got back from the game about an hour and a half ago. So everything I'm saying now is just live reaction, from being at Old Trafford. So you boys, let me know your thoughts. Laura says, club has fallen so badly from the top down. Still no excuse for players to be proud to play for Manchester United. I mean, I was talking to a few lads at the game today, and we just don't understand why they don't apply themselves. Why the badge on the shirt? This gorgeous badge here. Beautiful, beautiful badge. This historic, storied... I mean... How... They can't see within themselves to put in a performance that's worthy of wearing a Manchester United shirt. You're being shown all around the world. You're in history. Manchester United players go down in history. You've seen that with players for the past 100 years. We remember you. We celebrate you. We lift you up even in a bad and a poor moments. We'll still celebrate you. A lot of these lads seem. I mean, I'm looking at Lindelof. I'm looking at McTominay. Delo, not a great performance. Lisandro Martinez. Casemiro, okay, he's got his Real Madrid storied career. He doesn't really have to care about being a Manchester United player. And to be honest, I don't think it's a lack of caring and a lack of emotion. I think it's just a lack of just quality right now from Casemiro, which is worrying. Eriksen, I feel like, his legs have gone at this level. But McTominay, he's already looking at his move away from the club. He knows he's not got a future at the club. Rashford's so frustrating for me. He blows such hot. He's such a hot and cold player. You look at him and you think, I think he's been poisoned by Ibra. This might sound absolutely ridiculous, but let me just give you a theory for a moment. Before Ibra came into the club, Rashford was kind of Rooney was his idol. And Rashford used to press like mad. He used to run like mad. He used to play with a smile on his face. Ibra comes into the club, this kind of cool, kind of laid back persona, didn't press too much, didn't run for the ball too much. Kind of had that kind of I am it persona. I feel like that year or two he spent with Ibra, it rubbed off on him a little bit too much. And you look at Rashford, and he has that persona of like walking around. And I don't want to say he thinks he's better than he is, because he's been our bright spark over the last season, and a couple of seasons ago was our best player. And at the moment, you know, we've not got many options up top, and who's going to put in the kind of numbers. But it just feels like there's that dog missing from Rashford. That kind of energy, that application that you see from players like Rasmus Højlund, you see from players like your Bernardo Silvas at Man City's, like your Mo Salahs, you know, that are running up and down constantly. Just the work ethic. It doesn't. I just from Rashford, I'm not seeing it, or at least I am seeing it in different patches. And it's so frustrating because we want to see the best from him. And you know, Rashford on fire. He's an absolute, you know, incredible footballer. Best left winger in the Prem by far. I mean, give me someone close to him. I'm not sure there is. Craig says, if it cheers anyone up, I just fell off my niece's scooter in the hall. Listen, I don't enjoy Schadenfreude. Your sadness doesn't make me any more happy. I just feel sorry for you now, Craig. Casemiro's the closest to Welbeck and follows him to the box, but then watches the ball and doesn't know where Welbeck is in position. Yeah, of course, I see that, and it was poor. Box says, I'm a big fan of Onana. Thought he was a little slow to react to the goals going in, but he did make saves to stop it being 4, 5 and 6. Yeah, Onana's never going to be as good a shot stopper as David De Gea. David De Gea potentially was, for me, this is going to be a wild take, but for me, he's the best shot stopper of all time. David De Gea made saves that no other goalkeeper in the history of football was able or capable to make. Now, the rest of his game was lacking, and he was missing big parts. But when it comes to shot stopping, you go look at his saves, and you go look at his catalogue of saves. Unbelievable. There's no other goalkeeper in the history of world football that's got a catalogue of the close, the last minute reactions, the one-on-one saves. Unbelievable. Now, nobody was ever gonna stack up to David De Gea in that regard. But what Onana brings is his ability on the ball and his build-up play. Now we're lacking Varane. You know, we're lacking a solidified back four that's kind of played games together. So we're not seeing it yet. And all we're seeing is that there is a bit of a drop-off from David De Gea's shot stopping, which there was always going to be a drop-off. So, it's just part of the issue. Stephen Rossborough says, read my comment on Rashford, repost it for us, Stephen. Just copy and paste, mate, and I'm more than happy to read it. Rashford shows so much promise at times, but then looks so raw, like an 18-year-old. He's become a little bit greedy of late. Now, I don't know if that's because of late he's having to do everything himself, and he knows that he's not been able to feed a striker over the last 12, 18 months, that he's had to take everything on his own shoulders. But today there was a few instances and a few moments where I feel like if he squares the ball inside, that's an easy tap-in for Højlund or an easy tap-in for Bruno, and it was poor. Casillas came close. Casillas was a very good shot stopper. I don't think he's got the catalogue of David De Gea, but very close. De Gea in his pomp 2013, 2018 was invincible at times. Absolutely incredible performer. We saw Sergio Reguilón start today, and I thought one of our bright sparks, Sergio Reguilón and Højlund. Højlund struggled with Dunk today, though. Dunk's a big physical presence, and you saw Højlund versus Gabriel at Emirates, and Gabriel couldn't handle him. I think Dunk was prepared for this, and it was a good battle to witness. And what I love seeing that you might not have seen on TV was the off the balls runs he was making, the kind of pressure he was putting on defenders. But at no point did you see anyone putting a ball behind to him. He just wasn't getting the service today, unfortunately. A starting lineup you saw was Onana, Dalot, Lindelof, Martinez, Reguilón, Casemiro, McTominay, Bruno, Eriksen, Rashford, and Højlund. We played with a diamond 4-1-2-1-2. You look at their defence with Dunk and Van Hecke. The way they were able to create this little box four with Van Hecke, Dunk, Gross, and De Hood, and then they had the outball in either Matoma or Adringa. Now, with them having that box four to build up from the back, also with a goalkeeper, we were pressing with three players. We were pressing with Højlund, Rashford, and Bruno. And then from time to time, Eriksen would join in the press, or McTominay would join in the press. But essentially, they had the play. I mean, I've never seen a club come to Old Trafford. I mean, apart from Barcelona back in 2008, I've never seen a club come to Old Trafford. You could say City maybe a couple of times as well. Go and pass. I think they made 585 passes. Let me just check how many passes they had today. The total passes. The accurate passes Brighton had today against Manchester United, 601 passes they made today compared to our 416 passes. They had a 91% pass accuracy to our 85% pass accuracy. It's just not good enough. And what we needed really was a little bit more press and more presence from the midfield to go and press if we were going to play that way. And then also the back four. I mean, okay, they had Danny Welbeck, but Danny Welbeck over the top. I'd trust Lindelof to catch him. I'd trust Lisandro Martinez to catch him, but awful performances. Seriously, says, the fact we're buying injured players so late in the window shows we aren't serious. Why, though? Why is that? Think for a moment why that is, seriously. What's causing us to go into the transfer window loaning injured players at the very depth of the window? We all know the answer. It's the Glazers. And until the Glazers sell this club, we're just going to see it over and over again. Look at last January, not this window just gone. Look at the window before. We knew we were desperate for a striker. It took right toward the end of the window in the January transfer window for us to pick up Weghorst on loan. What are we talking about here? Picking up Sabitzer and Weghorst was our answer last season. At that point, we was looking like we were going on for a title push. We were about 4 or 5 points away from Arsenal at the top of the table. We look like we get ourselves a decent striker, and maybe we can make a serious push. We get Weghorst and we get Sabitzer. It's not good enough. You look at Erik Ten Hag, and you know what? I'll be honest, I'd be surprised if the man doesn't walk. I feel for him. I really do. Now, okay, some of his decision-making's been poor, but you look at the team that he's got and you look at the issues he's been dealing with. He's not been able to focus on the full 11. He's dealing with Anthony issues. He's dealing with Greenwood issues. He's dealing with Jadon Sancho issues. He's dealt with Rashford issues. He's dealing with, Maguire, trying to make sure he's all right mentally and with all the kind of attacks outside, which, justly or unjustly, they're happening because for a reason. He's having to deal with all that, and he's having to take all that. He's not been able to focus on his team and focus on his squad. He's got masses of injuries with Mason Mount out, Amrabat to come back, Varane out, Luke Shaw out, Wan-Bissaka, I'm not too sure why he played today. I'm not too sure what he said about Luke Shaw not playing today. But it just wasn't good enough. And unfortunately for Ten Hag, he's in a situation where everything's going wrong right now. And how he rectifies it, we'll see, what kind of a man he is, what kind of a manager he really is going forward, and if he's able to rectify it. Because the Glazers, don't get me wrong, I can't see them sacking him anytime soon. The Glazers will stand by him, and I appreciate that. I like that. And I don't know what you boys think about it, but I wouldn't even be thinking about getting rid of Ten Hag at this point. I think Ten Hag, you've got to let him. As I was alluding to earlier, and I said earlier that he's had one season, and one season wasn't really the system that he wanted to implement. This season he's looking to implement a new system. So really, it's like starting all over again, and he's not even had his personnel on the field to implement that system. It's just been poor. Neil Lennon said Manchester United are all over the place. They have no style of play. Well, I disagree. I don't think we have no style of play. I think we do have a style of play. I think the problem is the application and the ability on the ball. Like right now, these players that we're still seeing in the team, it's just not good enough. And the midfield with Casemiro and Eriksen putting in stinkers. I mean, when Casemiro puts in a stinker, we struggle. When Casemiro and Eriksen put in a stinker, we're really struggling. When Casemiro, Eriksen and McTominay are putting in stinkers. I mean, you look at some of the passing from Casemiro today, it was horrendous. It was poor. It was really poor. You look at some of the decision-making from Rashford, it was poor. So now, what is that? You've got to look back, and is that the training drills that are happening on the football field? Is it the pressure of playing at Old Trafford? These boys, they started slow, but in this Premier League, modern era, there's no room for starting slow. You start slow, teams catch up. Teams leave you behind, I should say. Seriously, says 100%, mate, genuinely upsetting. Box says Aaron Wan-Bissaka was sick, so couldn't start. Lindelof came off versus Arsenal sick as well. Equals why are we so sickly? I don't know, but you've seen with we've got a new nutritionist in now. Maybe that's part of it. Ten Hag bringing in new nutritionist. Trying to get the immune systems boosted and stuff. Maybe you just see how rotten the club is really, and all the kind of issues that Ten Hag's having to deal with. He's having to bring in nutritionists. He's having to bring in new members of the fitness team, and he's got a lot of work cut out for him. But it's almost like a one-man job at the moment, and he's not getting any help from the board. He's not getting any help from the Glazers, and the players are causing him issues as well. You've seen with Jadon Sancho and others, and it's difficult. It's difficult. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was ill according to Ten Hag. I just read that. 20 Legends said Glazer and board out first, then players, then we look at the manager once those issues are fixed. The question is, who would you replace Ten Hag with? Ten Hag shown last season he took our worst performing team in Premier League history and took it to third and won as a trophy. This season's been a disastrous start, but that's not just it's been disastrous on the field, it's been disastrous off the field as well. You look at our upcoming fixtures and maybe there's a little bit of light there at the end of the tunnel, but Casemiro's worrying. Is scary. We need to get Amrabat fit. We need to get him on the field. We need a little bit of more stability in the midfield. If you don't control the midfield, you're not going to win games. We've seen it over the last 5, 6, 8, 10 years almost now. That if you don't control the midfield, you lose games. And De Hood and Pascal Gross, they controlled that midfield today. They controlled the back. Van Heck and Webster, they dictated the play. They controlled the ball. Over 600 passes today. 91% accuracy. And the runs from Matoma, the runs from Madringa. It looked like we were the away team. It looked like we were the away team that was playing in the Europa League. It didn't look like we were the Champions League team playing at home. It was poor. Shane Caulfield, welcome in on the stream, mate. How's it going? Spencer Parkhouse says the Mirror has reported he's under pressure. Of course he's under pressure. Everybody's under pressure at Manchester United when things don't go well. You lose 2 games back-to-back, which has just happened. We lost against Arsenal at Emirates, and now we've lost against Brighton. You are under pressure. You need to come out and win. Lose against Bayern Munich in midweek, it's going to be tough. And then the week after, have we got, is it Crystal Palace? I think I'm going to the Crystal Palace game. And then we've got Crystal Palace again in the League Cup. So I have no idea who to bring in. I love Erik Ten Hag. I want him to stay and rebuild the club and get the culture back. I agree completely. I have faith in Ten Hag, but I wish he was given all the tools so he's able to get rid of the players that aren't good enough in the club, bring in players that he believes in and trusts in. And maybe Ajax fans have said in the past that he's not the best at buying players. Sometimes he needs players to be bought for him and then for him to implement players into his squad. He shouldn't have to be worrying about that. He should have players that we've done a due diligence and, we've done incredible amounts of research on, and we understand that they're able to apply themselves and, the kind of the best in the class in their positions, or at least the best in class at their age group, and they can look to progress going on forward. We're seeing with Amrabat, Amrabat, 27 years old, Fiorentina, decent, no superstar, not... He could fail for Manchester United. We don't know yet. You look at players like Kefram Turam at Nice. You look at players like Kouadio Kone at Mönchengladbach. These are young lads who look like they could go on to be the very best in their position. Those are the players that we need to be targeting. Those are the players that we need to be bringing in, but we need to be bringing him in early. Who was the player I was looking at yesterday? He played for Bayern, plays off the left-hand side. I forgot his name. They bought him from Ron. 20 years old. You see the way Bayern buy players. We're looking to loan Spurs rejects, and a Spurs reject comes into our club, and he's one of our best players today, Sergio Reguilon. That's not how Manchester United, one of the biggest sporting institutions in the world, if not the biggest sporting institution in the world, biggest revenues, biggest fan base. I feel for him. I trust in Ten Hag. Baldy's best, indeed. We're getting bopped by Bayern. I mean, you look at that Bayer Leverkusen game yesterday. I don't know. Although you look at Goretzka, you look at Kimmich, Upamecano wasn't great. They're looking strong. Coleman, very good. It's worrying. It's worrying. Hey, Craig Warby, appreciate the subscription, man. If you're new into the stream, make sure you've subscribed. If you're just passing by, there's a like button, there's a subscribe button. We're mufcMPB here. If you follow us on Twitter at mufcMPB or x.com, and you can follow me at ashmeppers. I'll be bringing out a match day vlog sometime tomorrow of the game today. You can see that on my channel at ashmeppers on YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Again, we've got big things planned here, boys, over the next 28, for the foreseeable future. You've seen with the Twitter account, it's massive. The same with the YouTube, bringing you all the match roundup, the transfer news, the insights, the opinions. We're gonna have some big interviews over the next 12 months as well. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you're watching, make sure you got your notifications on for our live streams every day. I do a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Saturday. Anton comes in on a Thursday, Friday, and a Sunday. Thursday, Friday, and a Sunday, and we've got Anil, our man from Talk Sport, who's in on a Tuesday. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and we appreciate your input. If you want to let us know your opinion of the game, anything you've spotted from today, anything that needs improving, any players you think are not good enough to play for Manchester United, get them comments in the chat, get them comments under the YouTube video. Going forward, where do we go from here? What is next for Erik Ten Hag? You've seen him try and play a different formation today. I assume he's going to go back to the old formation. Does McTominay stay in the team? You've seen him today running around like a headless chicken. Poor performance. Do we bring in someone on the right-hand side? Maybe he should have started with Pellistri as a right winger. Maybe he should have switched over Rashford to the right-hand side and played Garnacho as a left winger and Højlund up top and continue with the midfield three. One thing's for sure, the application wasn't there today. The technical abilities, the quality on the ball, the tactical understanding. It looked like the Zerbi and just outcoached Ten Hag today. And I'm sure Ten Hag's feeling it in the dressing room. I'm sure he's going home tonight thinking, what happened? How am I going to get us back to a position where we are challenging and these players are applying themselves and they're giving everything on the field? Now, if you'd have seen in the game at around about, I think it was around about the 60-minute mark, Rasmus Højlund came off. And I'd never heard anything like it at Old Trafford, not for a long, long time. The boos rang out. I'm not talking I don't know how it came across on TV or in the highlights, but the boos rang out. That shocked me. I'm not one to boo me. You'll never find me booing at Old Trafford. Regardless, I'll shout, I'll make myself known, but when it comes to booing, that's just not part of my makeup. I don't think it's part of the culture of being a supporter. You're there to support. So 60 minutes, the changes are made. Now, I looked at that and I thought, okay, Rasmus Højlund's been brought off because, he's not played many games recently. He's coming back from an injury. And he's nursing. We're kind of looking to keep him safe for the potential future. We don't want to kind of overstretch him in this game, and then he picks up an injury, and then we're back to square one. But yeah, Erik Ten Hag on being booed by the fans for subbing Højlund. It was positive. You see the fans in the first moment at Old Trafford. The reception was great. It was fantastic. In the first 20 minutes, fans were great. Glazers out, all support behind the team, excited to get the win that today, and then it all fell apart. You seen the fans in the first moment. Old Trafford reception was great. He performed very well. He did. I felt like he had a good game. It was good they gave this signal. You know what? I like this from Ten Hag. I like this statement. What he's saying here. He performed very well. It was good they gave this signal. It will give him belief. He came in with a small issue. He is not ready for a whole game. I think Ten Hag's turning heel. I think he's gone as the softly approach. Essentially, he's happy that the fans are booing Martial coming on. He's happy that the fans are indicating and signalling to Rasmus Højlund, we don't want you off the field. We think you've been fantastic today. That gives him so much, especially coming off the back of, he's losing. He's coming off the field, down 2-1, us playing poorly. And he's thinking to himself, did I have a bad game? Did I have a good game? What are the fans going to think of me? And then the fans to hear that rapturous boos. To him to know that they don't want me off. They want me here. They want me playing. They want me playing every minute. That's something going forward that he can put in his pocket, and he can think that, well, I've got them behind me. They back me. They believe in me. So that's one good thing that's come from today. I mean, there's not many good things that you can take from today, to be honest. There's not many things at all you can take from today. I Want Goals said, shout out, by the way, watching from London. How's it going, I Want Goals? I tell you, I hope you had a good day, but you know what we like, boys? We all feel it, don't we? It's one of these days where when you lose a game in the manner that we lost it, when we lost control, it wasn't a game where we were close to winning it. We were never close at any point. Maybe in the first 20 minutes, a little bit, but we feel it, don't we? And we live it. We live it now until the next game. And yeah, but regardless of that, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. You're looking after yourself. You're going for a walk, get a bit of fresh air, and we're always on to the next one, boys. There's always the next game. Spencer says, Triple A show on mufcMPB. Anton, Ash, and Anil. Appreciate it, Spencer. Good evening, guys. Welcome to the new members too. Yeah, welcome in. Again, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It'd be appreciated very much. 20 Legend said, heard it so well on the TV. That's good. It's good that it was. Sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes they play with the audio sliders on Sky Sports, and you hear the Glazers out, it gets turned out. I'm at the stadium and I can hear it loud and clear, and I go and watch the highlights and I see certain moments within the game, and I'm like, how come I can't hear the Glazers out chants that I've got video footage of? Madness. You can see some of that video footage on my YouTube, by the way. Ash Meppers, I'm going to be doing the match day vlog from today over there. And make sure you subscribe here as well, boys, for all the upcoming events in Manchester United for the foreseeable future. Like I said, I'll be live streaming from Munich on Wednesday. I'll be in Munich on the ground in the Allianz Arena. You'll see me with a background, the Allianz Stadium behind me. Hopefully you boys will be in the chat with us. Excited before we go and smash I was going to say a naughty word there, but we'll keep it clean on this stream. We'll keep it clean. Steven says, I was in the Fergie stand tier 2. It was loud. It was, weren't it? In the Charlotte Ferguson tier 2, you'd have been directly across from me then. He's a classic iPad manager. He planned for him to play 60 minutes no matter what. I think what's happened there though, Craig, you look at it and you go, you speak to your physios, you speak to your sports scientists, and you look and you go, right, what is the load that can be put on him today before there's the potential for injury? He's going to play in midweek. 3 days time he's going to be playing. So what is the load? 60 minutes. Okay, well we bring him off at 60 minutes. Would you have wanted to see Højlund risked for 90 minutes for the potential of injury? I'm not too sure I wanted to see that. I don't think I wanted to see that. Lizzie says, you take an entire mic and fool yourself saying you dominated the game. Please. I don't think we ever said that at any point there, Lizway. Did we say we dominated the game? I think I've said exactly the opposite, that Brighton dominated the game. They had, 200 more passes than Manchester United, 91% pass accuracy. They had 601 passes. 601 passes at Old Trafford. They dominated the game. They looked like the Champions League team today. We played poorly. We wasn't good enough. I can name 2 players who had a good performance today, and that was the new boys in Reguilon and Højlund. The rest of the lads, they've got to look themselves in the mirror and kind of get back to the drawing board, really. I Want Goals says, facts. Indeed. That's what we bring on this channel. Facts. We will beat Bayern. We're going to smash Bayern. Did you see him? Oh, Boniface. Boniface. I mean, what a name Boniface is. What a beautiful name Boniface is. Boniface should have had about 7 goals against Bayern. They were so open to the counter. So open. And you know what? They didn't create too much themselves, Bayern. You watched that game yesterday. That gave me a bit of excitement, a little bit of Boniface is a baller, to be fair. Boniface was a baller. You know what? He reminded me a little bit too much of Lukaku yesterday watching him, because he was great up until he got anywhere near the goal, and then he was skying him left, right and centre. It was some horrendous finishing. I was very unhappy with him being subbed off, but was mostly emotions. I know he played for Denmark, but not full game, so I thought he was fully back, but no point risking. Yeah, he played 30 minutes in the first game, 30 minutes in the second game. Now he's played 60 minutes. That's how it works. That's how they're building up the kind of physical load on the body, and they don't want to kind of expend too much energy on his muscles so that he is injured and he does kind of fail and struggle. So, Zerbi's come out and said that I don't know the problem at Manchester United. You should have seen him on the touchline screaming, moaning at everything. People want Zerbi and they moan about Bruno moaning. They want to see Zerbi on the sidelines. I felt he deserved the yellow at multiple occasions today. Screaming at the fourth official. The referee's doing nothing to stop it. Part of the bus at the Allianz and go for counter-attacks. Part of the bus, Part of the bus means bringing in Casemiro and McTominay to play as the 2 6s. It's interesting to see how we're going to approach that game. I want to see Wan-Bissaka back in the team. He's the most solid defensively, obviously. We looked awful today down that right-hand side with Delo. And okay, you look at McTominay, he offered no protection, kind of no support for Delo. But going into the Bayern game, I want to see Wan-Bissaka back into the team. I'm desperate to see Varane back. He won't be back. Lindelof looked poor today. A lot of the players looked like they were nursing a bit of tiredness, a bit of lag from international duty. Now, I don't know how many of the Brighton players went away on international duty, but I can't imagine as many as the Manchester United players, and they did look tired today. They look short. They look short in almost all areas of the field. Erik Ten Hag on being booed by the fans for subbing Højlund. I brought that to you a moment ago. Erik Ten Hag says, you learn many things from such a game. From the mental side, you can keep strong in moments, but I've seen some good stuff. The way we created many chances, we are just not finished them, but that will change. We did have a few chances, to be fair. Rashford had 3 chances, all blocked by the Brighton defence, all throwing the bodies out. I would have liked to seen that for the first goal with us. Somebody throwing the body in front of Danny Welbeck, but then didn't even pick up the runs. I also felt like Højlund wasn't fed enough. Every time Højlund got on the ball, he looked dangerous. He looked like he could bring something to the team, and I just don't think he got any service today, and it was unfortunate that he didn't get the service that he deserved. Gary Neville's come out and had his say after the game. He said the Glazers are responsible. It's just how it works. You own a business and everything good and bad sits with you. They inherited the best in all areas. They've overseen 10 years of mediocrity off the pitch and on the pitch. They set the culture of greed, ill-discipline, indecision and uncertainty that runs right through the club. It's hard to disagree. And you look at the transfer window. You look at the issues in and around the club. And right now, we go and sign Snapdragon, Qualcomm Snapdragon to a 60 million year deal. I'm sure the board members are all happy and shaking each other's hands, patting each other on the back. They look at the Jadon Sancho situation. They're trying to get involved there and tell the manager what to do with that. Luckily Erik Ten Hag's had power and control over that. But I mean, the players they know that there's a takeover in the off. They know that essentially they're comfortable. They've not got much to worry about. They're just putting in poor performances after poor performances, and what can change that? I'm not too sure. We're all hoping and we're all desperate that the Glazers leave the club, and that will be the catalyst for change at Manchester United, and we'll start to bring in a little bit of ruthlessness at board level, at the fitness level. Seeing players like Michael Carrick kind of oversee, and now I'm not Michael Carrick, sorry, Darren Fletcher. Seeing Darren Fletcher oversee training for the past 3 or 4 years. I love Fletcher as a player. I like him as a man, but there's a few constants in and around the training ground. There's a few of the fitness guys are still the same fitness guys that are still there and still having the same issues. Why haven't these been changed? Ten Hag, when he first came into the club, he wanted to bring his full fitness team to Manchester United. The Glazers didn't allow that. We're struggling to cope. Now we've seen after the first season, the Glazers start to bring in a nutritionist, start to bring in Arsenal's head fitness coach, and things are starting to change slowly, but it takes too long. There's too bigger delays, and which means that there's a lag that you see on the football field, and we won't see the reaction from the changes with the nutritionists and the new fitness members of the squad for another 6 months. The Glazers are happy we've got Champions League football. I'll be bringing you live from Munich at the Allianz Arena on Wednesday. We're all hoping that a change is in the offing, and we're hoping that change happens. It's frustrating to see, and we're just in this situation of kind of constant limbo of where we're at a club, and I'm sure the players feel that themselves. Box says Bayern needed Paulinho. We need Paulinho right now. Lightning fast counter is our best, mate. I agree. I want goals. I think that's probably our best option. Lightning fast count. I would put Rashford on the right. I'd put Garnacho on the left, and I'd have Højlund up top. Now you may say Rashford on the right, he does no good. He does no good finishing, like getting into the box. But I don't want him finishing. I want him to swing balls into the box. I want him to get those deliveries onto Rasmus Højlund, and I also want him, offering a little bit of coverage for Delo, because right now, McTominay just wasn't doing that, and neither was Bruno, unfortunately. Let's see what else you boys are saying. Onana, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Martinez, Reguilon, Casemiro, Amrabat, Hannibal, Bruno, Rashford, Højlund. That's what you want to go against Bayern. Yeah, it'd be interesting if you're watching, and if you would get your teams in the comments. You can post them here live, or you can post them under the on-demand video. I'll be interested to know who you want to see starting on Wednesday. And Man United Fun said Rashford is selfish, bro. He's been selfish, but I think that's partly because of the situation he's been over the last 18 months, where he's had to be selfish. He's had no one else to look to. Today there was a moment in the second half where he goes through on goal and he takes the shot off his left foot and hits the near side post, the near side netting. If he squares the ball to Højlund, that's 1-1. He just needs to get his head up and look. I don't understand why we are a team that just looks to get highlight reels. You look to do well on YouTube. You look for your own personal gain, rather than, you've seen with Man City over the years, they square the ball. They looked for the extra pass. You see with the great Barcelona teams. You've seen with Manchester United. You've seen Dwight York, Cole do it many times. Solskjaer. You've seen Tevez, Rooney, and Ronaldo, Berbatov. You've seen plenty of players. Ruud van Nistelrooy would never do it, but the rest would. You need to square the ball. You need to develop that relationship in the final third, where it takes players aback and they can't read that pass across, that squared ball into Rasmus Højlund, who can then just slot the ball home. Instead of trying to a low percentage near post weak foot. I mean, what are the percentages on that shot of going in? It's Rashford off his left foot. It's a very tight angle. The goalkeeper's covered the near post, and he goes for the near post shot. I mean, the percentages on that are maybe 1-2%. You square the ball, it opens up your percentages. For Højlund, who's there just for a tap-in. Madness. Gary Neville continues, it would be best if they sold the club with some speed and efficiency, allowed at least... What's going on here? And efficiency, and allowed at least the off-pitch items to be corrected properly that reset the tone and the culture. It's something we all want to see. How many times are we going to say it? How many times does it need to be said? We get them out of the club. We've had enough. Iron Gold says, what do you think is behind Erik Ten Hag's hesitancy with playing Pellistri, by the way? I've said this a few times on the stream, and I believe that his hesitancy is his lack of output. He's had one assist in professional football in Europe in 50-odd games. He's got no end product, Pellistri. He's great on the ball. He's great getting past his man. But when it comes to end product, he's very similar to Adama Traore. If you remember, Adama Traore played for Aston Villa, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Barcelona for a little spell as well. He's got all the capabilities to get toward the final third. When it comes to getting into the final third, nothing happens. A little bit like Alain Saint-Maximin as well. Just one of those players that's got no final third end product. And I think that's what Ten Hag's looking at. And he's also looking at his tactical nous of his understanding on the field of where to be in certain positions and defensively. And he looks at that and he goes, ooh, he's not the very best, on the defensive phase of play. On the ball, going up against the man, he looks fantastic. But you could have said the same against Dan James. You could say the same about Dan James. One-on-one, pushing the ball past the player, kick and rush, kick and chase. Look like a solid player, but when it comes to the final third, just no end product. I think that's where Ten Hag doesn't rate him. It'd be desperate to get Ahmad back, because you look at Ahmad and you look at his performances at Sunderland. That is a player that's got all the end product. You give him the ball anywhere near the 18-yard box and he's causing problems. He's creating assists. He's scoring wonder goals. He's getting in the box for tap-ins. He's got it all, Ahmad. I mean, we're so unfortunate Ahmad got injured. He would be straight into the team right now. It's just been a poor situation with our injuries and with our fitness team, our sports scientists at the club that have just not been able to keep our players fit. You look at the reason why he's bringing in nutritionists and stuff. We've got Manchester United's next 5 fixtures: Bayern Munich away, Burnley away, Crystal Palace at home, and then Carabao Cup. Crystal Palace, I think, is it the first Crystal Palace home game? Is that the Carabao Cup? I believe so. And then Crystal Palace home again, and then Galatasaray home. How many of those are we looking like we're going to win? I'm delusional. I'll be honest with you, boys. I'm delusional. I think we win all of them. That's just how I am as a United fan. Realistically, if you're going to kind of step out of my, Man United bias, take the red tinted goggles off. I'm looking at Bayern Munich. I'll be happy with a draw. Burnley, we've got to get a win there. Palace, we've got to win that. Crystal Palace, we've got to win. I think the only one, really, we're looking at a Bayern draw, maybe a loss. It'd be a long way to go on a 25-hour coach journey to be losing that one. I hope not. I hope that's a momentous occasion for us over there in Munich. 20 Legend says, need new owners and new board with the people that know how to run a football club. You know what? At half-time, I could see Murto and Richard Arnold. They were just behind me about, 15 seats behind me in the VIP section. And I'm looking at them and they're laughing and they're joking and we're losing 1-0. They're shaking hands with people, they're enjoying themselves, and they just don't feel it. They don't feel it. Don't feel it like we feel it. I can read in the chat that a lot of you boys are feeling it right now. It affects your mental health. There's no denying it. You go around just this 10-15% taken off your kind of emotional capabilities. It's difficult. It doesn't seem to affect the board members. They don't seem to care, but why would they care? They're not football men. I don't think they're Manchester United supporters. To them, it's just a job. And it's a job that they're doing well. That they're earning the big money. They're earning the big money on when it comes to the commercial deals, so they're successful on their side of things. The Glazers are happy with them. They're under no pressure, no stress. Looks like we're stuck in this situation for the foreseeable future, boys. We're desperate for it to change, though. So in regards to what we've got to look forward to and what hopes we've got Shaw coming back, we've got Varane coming back, we've got Kobe Mainu, that game with Kobe Mainu in that team, that's a different game. You look at the way he performed against Arsenal in pre-season, even in the Arsenal game, it's a different game. Casemiro may be on the way out, but we have got that young kid, our Kobe, Stockport native. He's coming into the team. We've got Dan Gore as well, a young lad, 20 years old, looks exceptional. I'd love to see him get more game time. I want to see him in the Carabao Cup start against Crystal Palace. I believe that we've got a little bit of depth when it comes to the midfield, with a few of the youngsters coming in. We've got Amrabat to come back. So we've got hope, boys. Today was a tough setback. We're what now? We're 9 points behind Manchester City at the top of the table. I think we're 9 points behind Spurs as well. No, I think we are 7 points behind Spurs, which is just, you know what I mean? So we've got players to come back. We've got hope. We've got excitement to come. We've got, Rasmus to settle in, get used to the chemistry with his teammates, build those relationships, for them to understand him, understand his thinking processes, and where he wants the ball, he wants it behind, wants it to feet in certain specific moments and stuff. Jayden hopefully makes a turnaround and starts to perform and realises that this is his last chance to the club. I hope he's not sat there, Jayden, and laughing and thinking, you lost. I hope he feels it. I hope he feels bad. I hope he's sat there feeling sad, feeling bad that he's not able to help his teammates, that he sees his teammates there suffering, losing 3-1. I've got a feeling that he's sat there and he's smiling. It's all speculation. I don't know. But something inside me says that he's not bothered about this. He's laughing, thinking, well, who's right? And it shouldn't be the case. I'll go with Sosa World Peace. Hope you're doing well today, mate. Right, well, let's bring you the the rest of the latest mufcMPB news. Starting off with sources close to Jadon Sancho, I was just speaking about, believe it may be in his best interest to move somewhere else. I believe so too. You know, unless he kind of gets himself into gear, gets himself into action, then you know it's just not gonna be working out for him here at this club, unfortunately. Would he have helped today? I don't believe he would have helped. You know, even a top performing Jadon Sancho, I don't think helped. I think our issue today was the midfield. You know, Casemiro, Eriksen. You know, Eriksen's not got the legs for it anymore. You know, Pascal Gross, Dahoud, Lallana running rings around him. Manchester United also used the international break to watch defensive starlets Antonio Silva and Giorgio Scalvini. I'd avoid the Italian fella. You know, Italian. I mean, not to stereotype, but they don't generally do well in this country because they don't seem to embrace the culture in this country. You see Scamacca recently at West Ham leave. You know, I'm struggling to even think of successful Italians in this country. Gianfranco Zola. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a few, but you know, it's the few and far between. They tend to be the ones that embrace the culture. Paolo Di Canio. Any others in the chat? You know, let us know if you're thinking of ones that I may be missing. Spencer says, yeah, not the best result. I wasn't too confident when I saw the lineup, and I remember Saka out, and then Bruno out of position. Never usually do well in those circumstances. Bruno was played in position today, though, Spencer. We played a 4-1-2-1-2, and he with a cam. You know, we played a diamond midfield, and he was at the tip of that diamond, so he wasn't out of position today. We just struggled with pressing our opponents. You know, they created a box 4 with Van Heck, Lewis Dunk, Dahoud and Pascal Gross, and then we tried to press with 3 players, and essentially we're pressing with 3 against 5 because they included the goalkeeper in that, so it was never going to happen. It was never going to work. You know, we needed the legs. R.I.P. Gianluca Vialli, indeed R.I.P. Gianluca. What a man! You know, a lovely personality, and you know, a great servant to the game. Yeah, I thought by the lineup he was on the right, but he did shift. Yeah, he shifted. He played on the inside. Getafe manager Jose Bordalas has said Mason Greenwood is friends with Jude Bellingham and that he's advised him to come to La Liga. The news coming out of Getafe this week has been that Mason Greenwood is far off it fitness-wise, and it's not looking like he's going to start tomorrow. The players are going to try and kind of like bring him back into some kind of match fitness and get him back to match sharpness, and it's going to be a couple of weeks before we see Mason Greenwood back at Getafe for anybody who's interested, and for anyone who's not. Eric Ten Hag on Harry Maguire abuse, and Harry Maguire might be sat there thinking, look, you know, my stock is going through the roof right now. You look at me and, you know, look at Manchester United, you look at Lisandro Martinez performing poorly, you look at Lindelof performing poorly, you look at United suffering and losing back-to-back games. You know, is it all my fault? Maybe not. Eric Ten Hag has said that, I have said many times, it's disrespectful, he doesn't deserve it, he's a great player, gives great performance. Would anybody in the chat, would anybody in the comments, anybody from the wider world like to see Harry Maguire be brought back into the first team? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Again, get it in the chat, get it in the comments. You know, make sure you're liking and subscribe to the video. It all helps to grow the channel, helps with the algorithm, and helps us moving forward in the future. We appreciate it very much here over at mufcMPB. You know, hopefully the start of big things, and hopefully you're on board with us. Jadon Sancho was watching the under-18s today. Not really much to make from that. Hello, no, Maguire is a bad apple. So you're saying no, I want goals. No for Maguire, a bad apple. A bad apple? What makes you say a bad apple? One thing I wouldn't say for Maguire is he was a bad apple. I'd say when it comes to attitude and application, he gives it his all. Maguire, I don't think there's an issue there. I think the issue is just technically and quality-wise. You know, he's not good enough to play for a top 4 team. He's not good enough to play for a title-challenging team. That's the issue. I wouldn't say when it comes to application and effort and desire and will, he's got all of those things. But when it comes to just talent, the talent it just isn't there, and it's just... It is what it is. He's a good professional, but he doesn't have the quality. Exactly, 20 Legends. That's my opinions on the situation. Where do we go from here? I'd like to hear your match predictions for Wednesday. What we're looking like. We're going to be... What kind of team we're going to be putting out on Wednesday against Munich. If we've got a chance at winning that game or getting anything out of that game, Right now, it's looking unlikely, but, you know, one thing you've seen with Manchester United players, we generally, you know, we bounce back from a setback. Okay, you say, well, yeah, but we just had Arsenal. We just lost to Arsenal. The international break kind of killed that. So we weren't allowed to kind of bounce back from a setback. So let's see what the reaction is on Wednesday. Let's see where we're at. What Ten Hag thinks about tinkering this time around. You know, we're playing with a 4-3-3 at Arsenal, now playing with a 4-1-2-1-2. What happens with the midfield? Maybe Amrabat is able to get some minutes in the game on Wednesday. We're desperate for some reinforcements. We're desperate to see Kobbie Mainoo back. Even at such a young age, he's already becoming such an important player. We're desperate to see Casemiro find some kind of form, because right now our performances are hindered by Casemiro. They are hinged upon Casemiro performing well. When he plays well, we play well. When he performs poorly, we perform poorly. And it's very simple. You control the midfield, you control games. Final third as well. We're having a chances, we're having opportunities. We're just not able to find the net. That will come with a little bit of time, with a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of polish, a little bit of polishing that beautiful, you know, Danish diamond in Rasmus Winter Højlund. Reguilón's looking solid. Reguilón's looking solid. He's looking like a decent signing and putting a great performance today. I'm excited to see how he continues in toward the future. Maybe this is the stage that he needs. Maybe this is the club that kind of works for him. He was a star coming out of the Real Madrid academy. You know, we tried to sign him a few years ago. He took that move to Spurs and kind of faltered and failed under Conte. He was never able to kind of get a decent spell and a run of games of consistent performances. Even so, he had good numbers. You compare his 2 seasons at Spurs, you know, then you compare the last 2 seasons at Shaw in the same position, and he's got much better numbers going forward. And you saw a few of the deliveries he put in today. You know, he was fantastic delivering the ball into the box. Defensively, out of position for the first goal, but again, you could say that Casemiro and McTominay, I would lay blame there. Maybe a little bit you could look toward Lindelof as well, not getting out quickly to stop the cross. We're in a situation where we've got a lot of injuries, a lot of players performing poorly. Ten Hag's, you know, he's got a lot of problems on his plate right now. He's spinning many plates, trying to get things right, trying to find a formation to get things working. It's exciting at Manchester United as always. It might not be you know, the most exciting positively, but there's always something to talk about. There's always something happening in the news. There's always clubs and media and everybody looking at us, regardless of what happens. Hated, adored, never ignored. We bring you all the Manchester United news here at mufcMPB. All the breakdown of the games, the topics, the opinions. We appreciate your opinions in the live chat. We appreciate it in the comments. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you get yourself involved. Thank you very much. I've been your host, Ash Meppers. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. If I missed any comments, make sure to get them in the video. I will reply to them there. Also, keep active on the x.com accounts at Ash Meppers and at mufcMPB. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the show. I will see you boys on Monday. I'll be back on Monday, and I'll be back with a live show from Germany in Munich on Wednesday. So keep you know, your eyes out for that one. Take care, Craig, Spencer, Sosa, Zoe, 20 Legend. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you joining in with the stream. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Try not to let it get you down too much, boys. You know, we got a lot of players to come back. You know, we've got a lot of exciting players, you know, to kind of get back into the team, and we're not there yet. If this was the first team, if this was everyone fit and we were losing to Brighton, yeah, we could feel devastated and depressed. This it's a ramshackle, put together team with no chemistry, and, you know, there's better times ahead. Trust me, boys. Come on, United. Come on, United.